Hey everybody, my name is Max Bergam. I'm the team lead. I'm joined by Eric Adams, Khanh Liu, and Tam Nguyen, and we are the creators of Meet and Compete. Back in January, when we found out we were able to come up with our own project idea, Eric and I knew almost right away that we wanted to make something centered around sports. We both love playing and watching sports, especially basketball, soccer, and football. We both live by a few parks that we like to play pickup games at in the summer, and one problem that we've always had is finding other people to play with. A lot of the times we'll head over to the park and there'll just be a bunch of little kids, or no one else is there, or as we're leaving, other people will show up. So we thought about what we could make to try and solve this issue. From here, we came up with Meet and Compete. In short, Meet and Compete is our built-from-scratch dynamic website where people can organize pickup games and sporting events for 18 different sports at local parks around their area. Our site allows users to create pickup games that other users can then see and virtually join, so to speak, so that people can organize pickup games before even getting to the park. On top of that, our site allows users to message each other and post to each other's walls as a way to communicate and organize future games with new people that you meet through our site. As we go through our presentation, we'll each talk a little bit more about what we all did and our experiences with the project. At the beginning, we decided what parts of the project we each wanted to work on. The main core feature of the project was the ability for the user to create and join events, and that would mean we'd be needing to store information within a database. So I originally decided to come up with a general outline for our database design, which you can see here. As we continued to add features and learn more about what we needed to store, our database quickly became much larger. This is what it ended up looking like at the end. A bit bigger than before, obviously, but it's good because it allowed us all to learn more about database design and writing good PHP and SQL code. From there, Eric and I began to work on the map that is the main focal point of the site. We used a few different Google APIs to get the information we needed, which was very valuable for this part of the project. We also implemented a feature to allow the user to search for places and events based off selected preferences. It may look simple, but there is a lot going on behind the scenes to actually get all this stuff you see to appear, including the correct markers based off preferences, which Eric will talk more about later. After we got the map all situated, I started working on allowing users to create and join events. We decided on what core of info the user would want to enter in when creating an event, and made a pop-up that allows the user to make an event within just a couple seconds. All they have to do is enter in a name for their event, choose a sport, a time, a date, a length of time, and an optional description of the event. Next, I started working on allowing users to join created events. This was surprisingly a bit easier than handling creating an event because I didn't have to store as much info in the database, and I became a lot more familiar with PHP and SQL after implementing creating an event. You can see in the video that's playing, when the user clicks on a marker that has associated events planned at it, they can click See Events, where it will show them a list of all upcoming events at that location. They can then click Join Event, where it will then add them as a member to that event, and they can now see that event on their My Events page. Once we had finished the majority of the core features of the project, we deployed our project to our hosting service, SiteGround. After we got it all up and running, we spent a few weeks finishing up some other features. I personally worked more on validating input data, handling the flow of the site for the user, and many other smaller features. We then began to go back, refactor code, fix bugs, and handle the seemingly thousands of edge cases that we were finding. We wanted to polish everything up as best as we could. As I'm sure most people did, I learned a lot over the last 2 quarters. I had a little experience with SQL and JavaScript before, and I had basically zero experience with PHP before this project, and I now feel a lot more comfortable in those 3 languages. I also learned a lot more about the dynamics of working on a team, as this was one of my first big group programming projects. Our group luckily never had any big issues, but it was just a bit new to be working on something with 3 other people. The last big thing I learned was just the vast amount of small details that go into creating a website and a project overall. There are so many things that you take for granted that are much more complicated than they seem, and our job as programmers is to make it appear as simple as possible to the average user. In order to achieve this, we had to work through some struggles. One of the challenges I faced was just learning more about the new languages I used, SQL, PHP, JavaScript. Big thank you to Google and to Tam and Khanh for helping me with that. They both had a bit more experience than me and helped me out a few times when I was stuck. One big challenge Eric and I faced basically throughout both quarters was the CORS policy issue we were getting with our API calls. CORS, which is short for Cross-Origin Resource Sharing, is a security mechanism that most browsers use to prevent resources from web pages to be accessed on other web pages that are not in the original domain. For us, this issue prevented any markers to show up on our map unless we had a certain Chrome extension on our browser. We didn't want to require the user to have to download a Chrome extension in order to use our site, so throughout both quarters, both Eric and I searched for a solution but couldn't find anything that worked. Luckily, a few weeks ago, I finally found a similar Google API to the one that we were using that was meant specifically for client-side programs. So after refactoring all of our API calls, we were able to thankfully finally fix the issue. The last main issue that I faced was not being able to remotely connect to our live database. Khanh found out that SiteGround, our hosting service, allows us all to access the same live database while we were still developing locally. For everyone else, this was easy and took about 5 minutes to set up. But for me, I spent about 8 hours one day trying to get it to work, just to ultimately find out that it wasn't working because my router was just too old, like 13 years old. I had to go to an Xfinity store the next day, get a new router, set it up, just to be able to remotely connect to our database. It definitely was a headache, but I learned a lot about routers and remote connections in the process, so it wasn't a total loss. As for future improvements, the big one was we would have loved to have ported our project over as a mobile app, but by the time we finished most of the site, we just didn't have enough time. If we had another quarter, we may have been able to do it, but it just wasn't in the cards. As a consolation, though, we did add code to make the site mobile responsive, which Sam may talk a little bit more about later. There's some more features that would have been cool, such as group chats and adding more sports, but we just didn't have enough time and we wanted to prioritize enhancing the features we did have rather than rushing a whole new feature. I'm going to hand it off to Eric now, where he'll talk more about his experiences.
Thank you, Max. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Adams, and I'm here to introduce you to the features I've implemented, as well as to share the experiences I've had while working on Meet and Compete. All right, first right here, we got a couple UML sequence diagrams I created at the beginning of the project. I wanted to use these as a blueprint for the features that I'd be working on. So two of them are shown here, one for creating an event and one for viewing a map as a registered user. This is the first time I've done this kind of thing. I didn't know how to make UML sequence diagrams before, but as you can see, I got the hang of things pretty quickly. Alright, so as for the map search feature, I implemented this, and it shows valid locations for playing sports. So it takes away invalid locations such as stores, general contractors, stadiums, etc. The map works just like a map in Google Maps, so the user can change a view to satellite, show terrain or labels, it can display street view, zoom in and out, go full screen, etc. It communicates with the database to show markers with events. So those blue markers there have events attached to them, and when you click on a marker, it displays the location's photo, name, address, ratings, and the user has the option to get directions or see reviews on another tab, and this works anywhere in the world since it uses Google Maps and Places APIs. As for the See Events feature, I created this, and it's dynamically created using JavaScript. Lists all the events at a specific location, and they're shown in the traditional card style. This card style is used throughout the whole site, and they're sorted by date and lets the user know if they've created or joined an event already if you click on Join Event. Alright, and as for the event detail page, Tam did the bulk of the page. I just added a little bit of user functionality, such as that Join Event button. It appears only if the user is not participating in the event. So if they haven't created or joined the event, that button will appear. Also that marker, with the whole map at the bottom with a marker displays the location of where the event is taking place. So for some additional features I worked on, a lot of validation for map search, creating and editing events. For map search, user input for location and radius. For creating an event and editing events, the event name, sport, time, and date. Users can only create events that are 30 minutes ahead of the current time. So it displays any necessary errors for incorrect values to the user when they try to create or edit an event. The guest user has limited functionality within the map, so it displays any pop-ups when the user tries to create an event or see events on a marker at a specific location. Says, hey, you gotta register, sign up before you can do anything. The create event form, I created that, most of it, and the date picker and time picker jQuery widgets are used for selecting date and time. The length of the event uses the slider, which can be moved around to change its value for how long the event could be. And I did most of the styling for it. Max helped me out with it, and then Tam fixed any of the little bugs we had. As for my learning experiences during this project, my understanding for how a website works has increased tremendously. For example, my understanding of PHP has been greatly improved. I've never really worked on it before, and it was great to learn the ins and outs of PHP. And I also learned how to use PHP with SQL securely with prepared statements. I also learned how to create the necessary documents for a group project. So the SRS was great to learn. The tests and results, I've kind of done that before, but not to this extent for a group project. And the UML sequence diagrams wasn't necessary for, a final deliverable, but it was great for a blueprint for creating features in the future. As for the core same origin policy, I explored a lot about how it works. And in the end, I figured out using client-side calls to Google's APIs, circumvented the issue, and that was great to learn. As for difficulties with the project, connecting everything together. So switching from HTML to PHP within PHP files, loading in scripts correctly without getting console errors, using AJAX GET calls in JavaScript to PHP files for database querying, or updating the database securely, etc. Using third-party jQuery widgets for features. So we use date picker and time picker, described earlier. I use moment.js. That's used for event creation and validation. I had to look at their documentation and examples for implementation of our scripts, and it worked out in the end. As for the CORS error, I tried getting this to work locally. I couldn't fix it, so I waited for a live version to go up and hoped that we could find a solution there. SiteGround had a page that said, hey, if you change the .htaccess file, it should fix the error. Never happened for us. So finally, after the live version was up for a week, Max and I found a client-side application to call in Google's API, Places API, which overcame the problem. As for future improvements, better hosting service would be nice. SiteGround has had a few issues with updating our files. For example, there's an issue for updating our project where we have to edit files, add text, delete the text, then save it for the full change to go through. We have to do that for every specific file that was having an issue. The search algorithm isn't perfect for map searching, so it doesn't allow for the complete correct valid locations for playing a sport. This is because of Google's Places API. It's not really on our end. We're trying to kind of funnel their results to show sports. So we could use more. We could search around for more reliable APIs, but the reason we used Google was because it was familiar and free. And that's basically it for future improvements. That was my brief look at all my experiences with this project. Tam will now describe his involvement with Meet and Compete.
Hello everybody, my name is Nguyen. First, I want to talk about what I did in our project. Before I start coding, I used Figma to design some main wireframe for our website. This wireframe helps us have a big picture of what our website looks like and what are features we will implement. I created master page, which can use as a template for the rest of the page in our website, so that you can see our website have the same style in header and footer. I created upcoming event page. There are two places that show upcoming events. Home page will only show 4 events, and upcoming event page will show all upcoming events. Users don't need to log in to access upcoming event page. Each event will show some information like name of event, time, location, and created by. User can click on Learn More button to know more about that event. User also can click on Join Event button to join that event. User needs to log in to join the event. After that, it will redirect user to my event page, and user will see the event that they joined before. If user already joined that event, or user is a creator of that event, in that case, there is a pop-up message to let them know. User can filter by the type of event by clicking the type they want in the type dropdown. I created event detail page. User can view detail of event by clicking Learn More button from home page, upcoming event page, or view from my event page. In here, user will see all information of the event. The image of the event will get from the database based on the type of event. It will help me with the location in the map here. User can click back to go back the page before. I created my event page. After user login and click on my event page, it will show the list of events that user created or joined based on current dates. That list will separate to two lists, current event list and past event list. For past events, user can only view by click on view button to go event detail page. User cannot edit or delete the past event. For the current events, user can view and leave the events that they joined before. If they are creator of that event, they can view, delete and edit that event. Whenever user leave, edit or delete an event, there is a notification and an email we will send to all the members of that event. After we're done with all the features, I use Bootstrap library and media generator tag to handle each page to responsive with any device screen like phone, iPad, and tablet. After this quarter, I had learned more about teamwork, discussion, and present my idea to the team. I also have learned how to start website project from scratch as a team. We did everything from getting idea, planning, analyzing, design, coding, and testing. In addition, I have learned research and troubleshooting and working with version control unit. Now our last member, Khanh, will talk about his experience through these projects.
Hello everyone, my name is Khan. Basically, everyone just introduced the main features that people can create events, delete events, and play around in Google Maps. So my assignment is working on a lot of features. The idea came from Facebook and Twitter, like social media. So basically, here's the new feed. So we can post things, we can upload an image, we can copy a YouTube link and then just paste it in here, and when you click the post, it will automatically get embedded link and then post it in our website or in our YouTube. Like here, we can play videos, you can see. So user can upload a GIF or an image. Then it can comment, like, do whatever they want, just like a social media place. So here, if you go to someone else's profile, it will be like a great looking up. Like it looks simple, right? So somebody else blog about this person, and then you can message them. And if you're the friends, you can have the option to remove friends or post something. So I think this came from Bootstrap 4 version. It's kind of cool, so I want to get this isolated from the website to look at like more focus on, hey, this is special, right? It's look special, just post something. Instead of, like having a box here and then have people just write something and then post it, that would just look for. You can have friend requests and then you can message. It's not going to be like if you click on somebody like here, it will just redirect you to the message page. You can create a new message, notification, same thing. If someone posts, likes, or comments on your post, it will just show you here. It will have like a red icon if you have completed. And we have account features, of course. User will want to change the first name, last name, email, and then the password. And you can even post the account. So posting accounts will prevent other people to view your wall or to message you or send you a friend request. Simply, you just need to log back in, and then it will just automatically activate your account. You can upload your profile pictures, and the big data they upload here will be the profile pictures. That was a great opportunity to work with SiteGround, which is our host service. We have 3 options to upload our website or update our website to the host. There's a directly way. You just need to upload the file into the folder, the public underscore HTML folder. Or you can use FTP, just transfer a file over through FTP protocol. Or you can use GitHub. SiteGround have the issues that I think Eric mentioned before, that when you upload or update the website, it didn't detect it immediately. Sometimes it takes like a few hours to update the files. We found a tools in SiteGround called Master Cache to just flush the cache, and some of them will get to update, but I had an issue with several PHP file I have here containing the sections. It didn't work that way. You have to go directly into the file, edit it, and then write something nonsense, and then save it, and then reopen it again and then get rid of that nonsense thing and then save it again, then it will work. Otherwise, if you go to like the new feed and then when you try to post something or go to some of the walls and comments, it's just not tech. Like sometimes your profile pictures down here will be gone, or the message is there, but your name and the profile picture is gone because it's taking like a section to interpreting your information down here. So that was that. I'm not sure if the other host services have the issue, but SiteGround. Anyway, yes, great project. I have learned a lot from Teamworks. I've learned how to write a safely code where you have to be aware of the SQL injection and XSS script exploiting exploiting the website. Yes, thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoying watching our presentation.
Alright, as Khanh said, hope you enjoyed our presentation. Overall, we all had a lot of fun and learned a ton throughout our project, and we're really happy with how it turned out. We just quickly showed and explained some of the features of our site, but to end it off, I'm going to give you a quick demo showing how some of the core features of our project work in real time. So when you first visit our site, you'll be asked to block or allow your location. Don't worry, if you choose block, you can type in a manual location as well if you want. So on the home page here, you'll see a few things. You can set preferences to search for places and upcoming events to play specific sports. I'm going to add basketball to my search. And now I can see places where I can play either baseball or basketball. And these blue markers are places that actually have upcoming events already planned at. So if I click on one, I can get some information about this place, and I can see events that are planned here, or I can create my own. You do need an account to do those things, but making an account is free. It takes about literally 10 seconds. I already have an account, so I'm going to sign in real quick. Alright, now that I'm signed in, and come back down here to the map, I can click on a marker. I can create a new event there if I'd like. I'll name it B-ball game. I'll set the sport to basketball. Let's say I want to do it at 4, and we'll do it tomorrow. I'll set the duration to about 60 minutes, and I'm going to say anyone welcome. Basketball pickup games. Okay, I'll create that event. So now I can come over here to the My Events tab, and I can view all events that I have either joined or I've created. I can get some more information about these events. So the one I just made right here, B-ball game. You can see it, it's right here. If I want to, I can edit it if I'd like, edit some details about it. I can delete it. And say I was to delete it, any members that had joined it, which was only myself, because I was the creator, I'll get a notification about it to notify everybody if any changes were made, including deleting it. I then can go to the upcoming events page here to view some different upcoming events that are going on around me. It shows ones that were made by you and ones that were made by other users. Say I want to learn more about an event, say, oh look, swimming competition, I might want to go do that. I'm going to learn more. And you can learn some more, get some more details on the event if you'd like. And if you'd like to join it, you can join it. And now in your events, it shows you as being one of the members. The last feature I wanted to show you guys today in this tutorial is the newsfeed and your account features. So if you come over here to the newsfeed, you'll see you have a wall where you can make posts, you can add pictures, videos, talk to your friends, stuff like that. If you come to your account, you'll see your wall once again. You have a little about me section, and then you can also send messages to people, which is super cool. So if I search up someone, you can come to messages and you can send a message. You can say, see, I've already sent them some messages. So next time that they get on, they'll get a notification saying, hey, I sent you a message, and they'll be able to read and reply to me if they'd like. This person is also already my friend. If I want to, I can remove them as a friend, or I can search up people and find new people to add as friends. And this just allows people to connect and form groups, make new friends, and easily, create pickup games in the future. So those are the main features that I wanted to demonstrate in this tutorial. Hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoy using our site, and get out there and compete.